Our top story in the NBA today, Victor Wembanyama. He sustained a concussion during the second quarter of last night's Game 2. You can see here he took a hard fall, and this was after he played just 12 minutes. He was placed in concussion protocol and ruled out for the remainder of the game. So I want to bring in our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania, here for more on this. We know, right, that he is in, Shams, the NBA's concussion protocol, but what does that mean for him moving forward here?
Malika, I'm told Victor Wembanyama did report to the Spurs facility this morning, and his status is uncertain for Game 3. I am told that Victor Wembanyama is hopeful to travel with the team on Thursday to Portland, but he and the team won't know for sure until then. Right now, he's in the concussion protocol, and that means he cannot participate in unrestricted activities for at least 48 hours. So that would be Thursday night. But he could do some gradual light work starting tonight if his symptoms don't worsen. And last night, when Victor Wembanyama was evaluated, he was diagnosed with a concussion. So that timeline for that protocol started last night. He then ended up going home right after the diagnosis to then rest and recover. So the Spurs are taking this very much day by day with Wemby.
Okay, so 48 hours from the time he is placed in concussion protocols. At least one thing, though, Shams, that Mitch Johnson did say that I think is important is that he's not being evaluated for anything else other than a concussion. So when he hit the ground really hard, people were wondering about his jaw, maybe his head. Right now, it's the concussion that they are looking at. Shams, thank you very much for that insight. So keeping in mind that 48 hours, let's just take a look at the remaining schedule of the series here between the Blazers and the Spurs. Game 3, Game 4. They will be in Portland Friday and Sunday. You can catch Sunday's game 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. I do think it is worth noting it's a 10:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off on Friday and then an early tip-off on Sunday. And then if necessary, you see Game 6, Game 7. They will be Thursday, April 30th, Sunday, May the 2nd. As we welcome you inside our Los Angeles studio, Brian, I turn to you here first. When you saw Victor go down like that, and knowing how long, I mean, 48 hours is one thing, but typically this can be 5 or even a week before we could see him back.
Right. So first off, we have to acknowledge that concussion symptoms are unpredictable. That's why they have a protocol, because sometimes they show up later. So that is the upsetting news. The thing that you mentioned about him not potentially having any other injuries is really, really relieving, because, you know, even a dental injury you could have seen from that height. The second thing that I think is important is in the playoffs, in the first round, you always get one spot where you get 2 days off between. Sometimes you have two days off, but you always have at least 1 2-day gap. It just so happens that the 2-day gap is between 2 and 3. So at least the Spurs have this to go on. And while I know that this is a huge shock to the Spurs system, the fact that they do get two days will also help the team prepare for the game on Friday, whether he can play or not.
I think that's the biggest point, is that you get 72 hours to prepare for Friday night. And certainly that lineup that they had out at the end of the game, that kind of that small ball lineup, and they had Luke Cornett out there with all the guards out there. I think that's probably, if Victor doesn't play, that's probably what we're going to more see. But time will tell as far as if we're going to see him on the court.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, we're glad that it's certainly nothing more than a concussion, but this can be incredibly serious, so we're just hoping for the best here for Victor Wembanyama. But there was still a game, Chiney, to be played, so let's take you out to San Antonio to see how this one went down. We're going to pick this one up with under 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter here. Devin Vassell shoots, knocks down the jumper, Chiney.
You're going to need more of that without Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs backcourt has to step up, and you need to see more plays like this from D. Fox as a facilitator.
Luke Cornett has been absolutely incredible. I did not know he had that in his arsenal. Scoot Henderson, though, speaking of incredible, Euro steps his way inside, possibly his best stretch here as a Blazer.
Without question, considering he missed 50 games this year with a hamstring injury, just amazing to get this at this time in the season.
Henderson knocks down the 3 there. Next Portland possession here. Henderson kicks it out to Robert Williams, the 3rd. Okay, get you a big man who can do an assist.
You don't have that on the bingo
there
card.
To clean it up.
Have your teammates back.
17 seconds left in the fourth. Denny Avdia drives to the paint.
The D-cell there on the pass.
Gives it to the Time Lord. It is worth noting that they went closed with the Time Lord over Klingon there, who you can see is hyped for his teammate there on the bench. 5.2 seconds left. The Spurs trail by 1. Vassell gets the inbound pass. He's been knocking those shots down. Good look. Just couldn't quite get it to fall. Still can't believe that one didn't go down. So the Trailblazers, they steal game 2, and they even up this series as they get the 106-103 win here. So San Antonio, remember, they were up by 14 points entering the final 8 minutes and 30 seconds of the fourth quarter. But the Blazers, they went on to close the game shooting 10 for 15. They outscored the Spurs 12-0 in the paint, and San Antonio's backcourt, they didn't make a shot over that stretch. They were 0 for 7. So we don't know, of course, how long Wemby is going to be out for here, as Kendrick Perkins joins us for this conversation as well. Chiney, you mentioned De'Aaron Fox, him needing to step up. Perk, who do you think needs to step up here?
Oh, it's De'Aaron Fox for sure. I mean, when you talk about going on the road, the one knock against the San Antonio Spurs, while a lot of people didn't pick them to win it all, is their lack of experience, right? And so you're going on the road possibly without your generational talent. You need a veteran like De'Aaron Fox, a guy that has been in this moment, to rise to the occasion and level up. They don't need him to be popular. They need him to be powerful. One of those performances that we saw when he went toe-to-toe with Steph Curry a few years ago when he was in Sacramento. That's the type of impact he has to have, especially if they don't have Wemby. And going on, because Portland is an underrated city when it comes to their fan base. It get rowdy in that arena.
Oh, interesting, Perk. I was listening to you yesterday, and you were talking about the Knicks and the Hawks, and you said, oh, when you're in Atlanta in the playoffs, it's like the club. So there are a lot of underrated cities in your eyes, but I feel like it's more than just, De'Aaron Fox. It's the entire backcourt. Because right now they're getting big performances, not just the play-in, but also the playoffs from Deni Avdija. And then you have, obviously, Scoot Henderson showing up and having those out-of-the-character and times 30-plus points. It's going to be Stephon Castle. It's going to be Devin Vassell. The whole backcourt for the Spurs have to step up. But most importantly, I really felt like they were going to eke this out. And that's why I really think that the Trailblazers stole one. Because your star player goes down. You're at home. You have one of the best fan bases excited for this moment in the playoffs. And then you just didn't have that momentum down the stretch. And you made an important stat about how they shot so well in the paint because there's no helicopter there as well. And so they have to, now, I guess sometimes when you know someone's not there, you can scheme and prepare more accordingly. But I even thought that given the circumstances that they would pull this one out, they have to understand that they lost one.
One thing that did happen was that Toumani Camara, who's an all-defensive player, he typically would have guarded Wembanyama down the stretch, and because he didn't have that assignment,
everything adjusts.
He went out to De'Aaron Fox.
Sure.
He didn't make the highlight, but he had 8 points in the fourth quarter. He actually had one of the most impactful games he's ever had. But freeing up Kamara from having to defend the interior to the perimeter is a significant difference that changes things in this series.
And we're talking about the backcourt, which is absolutely important when you're talking about a clutch player of the year needing to be able to carry the offensive load here. But there were stretches. We talked about how good Luke Cornett has been, Bobby. There were stretches down in that game where the Spurs, they decided to go with no center out there. And they were outscored by 7 in those minutes. So when Luke Cornett's not on the floor and Victor's not on the floor, where do you think San Antonio needs to adjust?
Well, it turns into a jump shooting team. There's no points in the paint. And what you saw with Portland was they went to a more athletic center in Robert Williams, and they took Donovan Clingan out the game, and that really kind of changed the dynamics there. So I think, how do you combat that if you're the Spurs there? It's similar to what we saw with the Denver series. You get tired legs, you start to be a jump shooting team here, and that's something that happened. I'll say this. For Portland, I'm going to throw a number out, number 40. 40 is the number of possessions that closing unit played all season long here.
Wow.
And if we're going to give flowers out, I'm giving it to Tiago Splitter, their coach, who has really pushed all the right buttons, not just during the regular season, but certainly in the play-in and also in Game 2.
And coaching through sort of a strange situation right now as well. Before we move on elsewhere in the Western Conference, Scoot has been the MVP of this series for the Blazers.
Well, Deni Avdija had an awesome Game 1, but yesterday, he had no points in the fourth quarter. Scoot Henderson was a difference-making player yesterday, no doubt.
Absolutely, and this has been a long time coming for Scoot, who's dealt with a lot of injuries in his career. All right, let's go to what was maybe the shocker of the night in Los Angeles. Kevin Durant, he was back. He returned for Houston, but Chiney, they still had a problem.
Major.
It was good, though, to see LeBron and KD going head-to-head again in the postseason, playing meaningful basketball for the first time since the 2018 finals. It was LeBron, though, who had the upper hand in this matchup. The trio of James, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, they scored 43 of the 54 first-half points for the Lakers on Tuesday night. And despite a 20-point first half from Durant, LA led by 3 at the break. So let's go ahead to the third here. The Lakers, they used a steady diet of the pick and roll here. LeBron finding DeAndre Ayton for the the jam.
Oh, that's where the defense of the Rockets, normally that's their strong suit, but Alperen Şengün was too high and was laid on a couple of those possessions.
That was the highlight of the night. The two-handed reverse. Here's James talking about that dunk.
I don't even know what that was about. I gotta sit the hell down somewhere. I gotta sit down somewhere.
41-year-olds on set. Can we still get up like that? Look at this comparison, the side-by-side back in 2004. All right, and then more out of that pick and roll here, Chene. James drives.
Traumatize me real quick. But honestly, I was just so happy to watch LeBron James cook, not only score like we saw in that dunk, but also facilitate. This was a masterclass by a 41-year-old.
Uh-oh, you know what time it is? It's
island
time.
Put you on an island.
James gets inside, finishes with the left, and then 2.5 to play. The Lakers up 5. Marcus Smart hits
Wide
the
open.
corner 3.
For a playoff game, there was such little resistance by Houston on defense.
And here's the icing on the cake. LeBron backdoor cut, two-handed jam. He finished with 28, 8, and 7. So let's take a listen to Kevin Durant on what went wrong. What was he seeing from that Lakers defense?
They start doubling me from possession 1, man. Like, I think I got to be better at not putting my teammates in bad positions when I swing that ball. Sometimes I could beat the double, get downhill, make the shot a little easier for him. Shoot the ball, I mean, two to three people on me, I shoot the ball, we can get offensive rebound. I'm trying to make passes, I'm trying to make the correct, swing the ball sometimes, but I feel like I got to shoot more of those and put my teammates in better position. They're making threes, and we're not. We're getting way more shots than them this series at the rim. We're getting the same amount of threes up. The offensive rebounding well. The difference is they made shots. They got guys that's knocking down shots.
I was in that press conference, and I don't think KD was so much surprised by the double team because he saw it so much in the regular season, but there was no answer that they had out of it. You used a good word. You used an SAT word on the Wildly Successful Hoop Collective podcast about the approach here that we need to go, the two-pronged approach for...
Bifurcated. Yeah, there's two things going on here. At one point,
wait.
First of all, you got to define it. You got to explain it.
We're going to take a bifurcated approach to this discussing.
I think the Lakers,
game.
there's two things going on, basically. Perk, it means two things are going on, all right?
Okay.
The one thing going on is that the Lakers are doing a great job.
Yeah.
Okay, they have a really good game plan. They got 48 points from Luke Kennard and from Marcus Smart yesterday. That's probably akin to what they would have gotten from Doncic and Reeves, okay? And especially, they scored 101. They got 48 from those two guys, okay? That's pretty good. The second thing is the Rockets offensively are just an absolute disaster.
Right.
9 turnovers for Kevin Durant. Some of it is his mistake. Some of it is the scheme. Like, 101 points. I know that we showed the Rockets screwing up on defense. You can survive 101 points in 2026. You should be able to score 102. They can't score anything on offense.
So in that bifurcated approach, Perk, when you're looking at the Lakers side of all of this, what did they do? Because, yes, of course, it was the Rockets' mistakes, but what impressed you about the game plan that they executed?
Well, I mean, it's the IQ, right? And then we got to give a lot of flowers to J.J. Redick because he deserved every bit of it, right? When you talk about putting together a game plan, when you talk about empowering the role players and others to elevate their game, Jackson Hayes played the best game that I've seen him play in a long time. If you're a box score watcher, then you won't be able to see exactly or hear what I'm saying. But when you talk about doing the little things, he maxed out. That possession in the fourth quarter where he got the ball from LeBron in the pocket pass and he made the simple high IQ pass to the wing and then they swung it to the corner to Marcus Smart for the 3. That was big. That was a crucial play. So, again, when you think about what J.J. Redick is putting together, he's out coaching Ime Udoka. He's maxing out his guys. His rotations are on point, and that's why we're seeing the difference between the two.
And the numbers to back you up, Perk, Kevin Durant was doubled on 14 plays. The Rockets actually shot 6 for 11. They scored 13 points out of the double. It felt like they shot way worse, whereas he only had 2 points and only attempted 3 shots. To me, that's by design for him not to shoot.
It feels like the solution, they were passing out of the double a little better in the fourth quarter.
Not well enough for me, but
it's going to have to be a men, right? It's going to have to be a men who's going.
Let go and let God for me.
Well, then what do you say? Amen.
Amen.
Coming up here. That's where I thought you were going. How do you feel about the nickname VJ Max?
Love it.
You love it?
Do you even know what TJ Maxx is?
They do. That was like at the beginning of the year. They had the hat.
Well, we know that they just
redefined.
Yeah, but before that,
Listen, it was all about VJ Max. The Sixers' dynamic backcourt, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, they combined for 59 points. So let's go to Beantown to see how this one went down. We're going to pick it up in the first quarter here with Jaylen Brown attacking the rack.
Oh, no.
how do you feel about that tee? I'm going to allow.
Worth it.
I'm going to allow the trash talk after that.
Absolutely.
I think it's absolutely allowed. Let him play. But we would, Shanae, see the VJ Edgecombe effect early and often in this one. He came out aggressive.
I know we have a Rookie of the Year battle, right, between Khan and Coop, but he's been such a delight to watch. That's a Malika Andrews word because he is just explosive. But when he's knocking down threes like this, he's truly a game changer.
We love a delight. He recorded 20 points in the first half, became the first 76ers rookie with a 20-point half in the playoffs in the play-by-play era. He wasn't done making history. Let's jump ahead to the fourth here. Brown gets to his spot, knocks it down, Bobby Marks.
I thought Philly was in trouble here. You get that crowd going.
You saw that look?
But here you go.
Maxey pulls up. This was the bet that Joe Mazzulla made, staying in that drop coverage. He said, we're going to dare you to shoot.
I have not seen the Celtics play this type of coverage the entire season. I think the stats back that up, and I do not think we'll see it this much again. Excuse me, sir.
76ers closing this one out. Reverse layup plus the foul. Maxey finished with 29 points. VJ finished with 30 points. The 76ers win this one and even up the series. Here's VJ and Paul.
The guy next to you is the first rookie since Tim Duncan to have 30 and 10 in a playoff game, and he surpassed Magic as the youngest guy to ever do that in a playoff game. I was curious what your thoughts are.
You did that? You wildin'? You know, I've been saying it all year long. He's far past a rookie. And are you 21 yet?
No, 20.
What a 20-year-old could do.
Do we need a little handshake like that? A little handshake? I like that. He became the first, VJ did, the youngest player, rather, in NBA history. He had at least 30 points and 10 rebounds in a postseason game. And that distinction, it previously belonged to Magic Johnson, who was 11 days older than Edgecombe. I love when it has to come down to the nitty-gritty, to the days. All right, today, there was something, though, about the Celtics defense that you wanted to highlight. What was that?
I respect Joe Mazzulla, and you know the phrase, in order to go where you've never gone, you've got to do things you've never done. And you're trying to win a championship again, so you're going to do something else. But don't do this again. Don't do this again. Don't give them that much space. Don't give VJ Max this much space, because look how wide open VJ is to knock this down. They made 19 threes. That's like giving a layup to a pro. It doesn't matter if they're not natural shooters. They like to get downhill. When you're this wide open and you see one go down while you're in drop coverage, it's going to be a long night. And once they hit a couple threes, it's like giving the HOV lane to a Ferrari. You're going to go all the way to the basket. You're going to go all the way and hit your step back. You're going to feel so comfortable. Again, I respect Joe Mazzulla, his schemes. He always does different things. But respectfully, don't do that again. Don't do that. I think everyone learned their lesson.
I think they did. And if you didn't learn your lesson from that game, you learned your lesson from the other two games that Philadelphia won during the regular season. Who wins the three-point battle will win this series. In the 6 games played this year, the wins for Philadelphia, 42% from 3. Boston shot 28% in the losses here. So that is going to be the key.
Right.
If you can make threes, you're going to win this series.
Well, 13 of 50 is not what the Celtics want to shoot from 3, but we know that, Perk, they're a high-volume three-point shooting team. What adjustments do you want to see from them as this series shifts back to Philadelphia?
Well, one, I want to see Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, two-way players play some damn defense and lock that up, all right? VJ Edgecombe them had their moment, but you're not going to change the Joe Mazzulla system offensively. This is who they are. This is the recipe that won them a championship. They're going to continue to shoot that. I would like at times to see a little balance, especially with Jason Tatum, using him in the low post, mid post, even at the nail action, even with Jaylen Brown. Put Tyrese Maxey in a lot of situations where he have to guard those bigger guards in certain areas where it create a mismatch, and, get them an opportunity to probably put them, get them in foul trouble or get them to the free throw line.
Well, and then the question of Joel Embiid hangs over this entire series. Right now that it's even, does that give Joel a little bit more time? We know our Tim Bontemp said he's returned to some ramping up activities here. All right, that's what's happening in the NBA. All right, so let's just take a look at how things are shaken out in the Western Conference here. Of course, the Thunder, they lead the Suns 1-0. They're going to face the winner of the Rockets and the Lakers. The Lakers, of course, lead that series up 2-0. And then on the lower half of the bracket, both series are all tied up at 1-1. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves, the Spurs and the Blazers. Which brings us back to our top story of the day that could have a massive impact on the Western Conference bracket here. Victor Wembanyama, he suffered a concussion on this hard fall in the second quarter of Tuesday night's Game 2 playoff loss to the Blazers. Now, Wemby, he played just 12 minutes before he was placed in concussion protocol. He was ruled out for the remainder of the game there, really taking a hard fall there. Concerning for everyone involved. As we say hello to our Tim McMahon, who we know, Tim, that Victor, he suffered this concussion after this loss. What do we know about his availability moving forward here for Game 3?
Yeah, clearly there's uncertainty here. He's in the concussion protocol. They're going to go step by step with that. Obviously, closely monitor his systems. I was told taking it day by day, but they have to come up with a plan and prepare as if he won't be available in Game 3. If he is, great, but they've got to get ready to play without the face of their franchise. Now, this is a situation that they've been in some this year, and they've had success without Victor Wembanyama. They were up 14 with 8.5 minutes left to go in this game. They didn't lose the game because Wemby got hurt. They lost because they couldn't close it out. But 12-6 this season without Victor Wembanyama. That includes 2-1 against the Portland Trail Blazers during the regular season. De'Aaron Fox had big games in both of those wins without Wemby over the Blazers. And look, there's going to be a lot more on his shoulders, especially if this is another close game down the stretch. But don't know yet. It's too early to know whether it's possible for Victor Wembanyama to play in Game 3. But again, the Spurs, they've been here before in terms of not having to face their franchise. And, we will they have to go forward without him for Game 3.
Yeah, certainly they have a lot of experience playing without Victor Wembanyama, but you'd have to think, Tim, that if the Spurs are going to get to where you're standing right now, which is playing Oklahoma City, which is a matchup we're all looking forward to, they're going to need their full complement of players, including at some point Victor Wembanyama. So we certainly hope he gets better soon. Thank you so much for that insight. The good news, though, for San Antonio, depth is not a weakness, right, for this team. They had 7 different players average 10 points a game. That's tied for the most in NBA history. And Keldon Johnson, he was one of those 7, and he appeared in all 82 games off the bench. Our very own Michael C. Wright caught up with Keldon Johnson on his ranch. Yes, I said that, Chanae. We got to get down to Texas.
Yeah.
What up, bro?
What's up, baby? How you doing? Welcome to the ranch, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us out here, man. This is crazy. Oh, like the mini goats coming?
Yeah.
I saw some llamas, too. When did you get the llamas?
Easter morning, we got the llamas. They've been getting acclimated, so, the donkey's been chasing them around a little bit, but, they ain't used to the life out here.
Name's Bonnie and Clyde?
Bonnie and Clyde.
Who named them? You?
Yeah, me, for sure.
Well, I got some questions about basketball, man.
For sure, let's do it then.
What will it mean to play in your first playoffs after, this long 7-year journey, man?
It's a little nerve-wracking because, I don't really know what to expect because it's my first time, but I'm excited. I feel like it's an amazing opportunity, not only for me, but my whole entire team. I feel like we got that chip on our shoulders.
But Keldon Johnson, a clutch and monster two-hander off the miss.
I feel like I'm prepared. I feel like we've been preparing all year for this opportunity.
Let's go back to 2022-23. Wasn't that the year you had a career high score, like 22 points?
Yeah. When you look at individually, it was a good year. Obviously, we didn't win as many games as I would have loved to win, and that the Spurs organization was accustomed to. So obviously, it was fun and things like that, but you definitely, once you start winning, you don't really want to look back from that. So, yeah, it's a lot different.
Keldon Johnson trying to tie it, and does a 3 from on top.
That year, career high scoring, you do your thing, and they say, Keldon, we want you to move to the bench. What was that conversation like?
Papa was just saying that he thought that would be best for the team, man. I was just like, whatever. I trust you, coach. Whatever you feel like is best, I'll do that full-fledged. And, it definitely took some time to adjust and, getting used to coming off the bench and really finding my role and my groove and things. But they seen the bigger picture before I did.
You said they saw the bigger picture before you. I'm guessing the ego took a hit.
Yeah, for sure. I had some individual success. I've been a gold medalist, but I really realized if you want to be, sometimes you got to remove your ego. And San Antonio is a place I wanted to be. just accepting that was probably the best thing I ever did. I feel like I really, just bought into it, went in full swing with it. You see how the year's going, it's amazing.
He's such a unique player.
He's the heart and soul. It's just a reflection of his character and his commitment to the organization.
Sixth man of the year. What will it mean for you to win that?
It'll mean so much to me. I feel like just a testament to the hard work. It hasn't always been easy, but it never deterred me, never steered me away. I feel like I just found a way to, be the best Keldon Johnson each and every day.
That's awesome, man, because it's been a long journey for you, man. I remember them dark days when you guys were losing and you always kept a good spirit and said, hey, man, it's not going to always be like this. I remember that.
For sure. You got to stay consistent. That's how, foundations are building and you create good habits. And I feel like I'm a living testament to that. I embrace the process each and every step. I've been here from the beginning. It's such a fulfilling feeling that, we're at where we are right now, where I know where we came from. Can't wait to see what this playoff holds for us. Can't wait to see what the future holds for us. I'm excited.
Do you think that he has a llama named Victor Wembanyama? Keldon Johnson, we'll find out tonight if he's taking home some hardware. He's one of 3 finalists for the Sixth Man of the Year award here. As we stick in the West, the Suns taking on the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder here in Game 2. The Suns, of course, are 15.5-point underdogs to the defending champs, which tells you how tall of a task Kendrick Perkins they are facing. So if Phoenix is going to make this even a competitive game, let alone a series tonight, what is it going to come down to?
Well, in all these series, all we keep talking about is the X factor. Well, in this series for the Phoenix Suns, let's talk about who's going to be the factor, who's going to be the guy that's going to lead them, and it got to be Devin Booker. Like, I'm waiting on him to have that moment. He didn't have it really in the play-in tournament. I felt like Jalen Green was that guy for us scoring-wise. When you're going against the champs, and I know this is one of the greatest defensive teams that we've ever seen in NBA history, you still need Devin Booker to rise to the occasion. We're talking about one of the most efficient, elite scorers that this game has ever seen on the big stage. I need to know if he's ready to dance.
What? Respect, Perk, I love you. I love you. You're my big bro. But did you see what they were doing to Devin Booker? He still had 23 points. They were double-teaming that man.
Good enough. 23 ain't good enough, Janae. You got to find a way. We got to realize, listen, I didn't watch Kobe Bryant get doubled. I didn't watch Paul Pierce get doubled, and I still seen them come out with 40 pieces. You still got to find a way. Yes, your coach got to help you. I understand.
Your teammates got to help you, too.
No. I know that, Janae, but you telling me if Devin Booker continue to average 23, they're going to have a good shot at winning the game in this series?
You do need more points, yes. But still, when I was watching Devin Booker play, I was also seeing that defense that you said is historical double-teaming him. And he needs people to take the pressure off of him when he releases the ball. He's already scoring in those pockets of transition. He's scoring in broken plays. But when you're double-teamed, it's very difficult. This is a defense that forced 17 turnovers against the Phoenix Suns. Do you know how many points they scored off of that? 34, whereas they took care of the ball. They themselves, the Oklahoma City Thunder, only committed 6 turnovers. And so...
For how many points?
For 2! For 2. So, I understand that we want a Devin Booker moment. Trust me. I love that. He's one of my favorite players. But by design, in the playoffs, they're going to attack that man until someone else beats them. Someone not named Devin Booker. It's got to be Jalen Green showing up in big moments. We've seen in the play-in, he's exploded. He's had some big games. If he is able to drop 30 or so, that takes pressure off so the defense can move and adjust. But right now, they're just circling around him. Yeah, I know. Yes.
You know what my grandpa used to tell me, God rest his soul, right? When 2 people disagree, the next word is bet.
Oh, we go. Oh.
All right. Well, then that perfectly brings us to our betting segment.
They're going to bet a llama. Texans are going to bet a llama.
By DraftKings Sportsbook. All right. Let's roll through a couple of these here, starting with you, Shanae.
And for all of these reasons, I am betting that Jalen Green scores at least 18 points. You need about 25 or 27 from him to take the pressure off of Devin Booker. And speaking of Jalen's, let's go to J-Dub. He will get at least 5 rebounds in my eyes because he's playing aggressive and he's also leading the break when SGA doesn't have the ball. And speaking of SGA, he's due. He's due. He had 25, I think, in game 1. He likes to get to that 30 line, so I like SGA, the front runner for MVP, to be productive. Perk, Kendrick,
Perk, comma, Kendrick. I'll add that all up, plus 390 on DraftKings Sportsbook. All customers can get a profit boost every day of the playoffs. Download the app, use the promo code SCREEN when you sign up. A llama? We're adding that. The NBA playoffs, the first round continues on ESPN. What day of the week? Wednesday. That's right. The Pistons host Paolo Banchero and the Magic. Then the defending champs, SGA and the Thunder, hosting the Suns. Coverage tips with our friends Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Sack. That's at 6 o'clock. Do you ever do that? You're like, today feels like a Thursday, but actually it's a Wednesday. We got a big game coming up here on NBA Today. The SEC Player of the Year.
There you go.
Arkansas guard Darius Acuff Jr. He's here, and he's got a special announcement that you won't want to miss.
This doesn't feel like your typical 1-8 matchup.
Blessings on blessings on blessings. Look at my life, man. That's lessons on lessons on lessons.
Jalen Suggs brings that toughness to physicality.
Wagner downhill. Look out! Air Germany is just taking flight.
The Magic proving that they have a lot left in the tank.
The Magic take game 1 at Little Caesars Arena.
First win. Just one, though. 3 more, baby.
Well, the biggest upset we saw early on was the Magic going into the Pistons' house and taking game 1, Kendrick Perkins. So tonight, for this series to be even, what are the Pistons going to need to do here?
It's not what, it's who. I need that big man to cause big problems, and I'm talking about Jalen Duren. Damn it, I voted him 3rd team All-NBA. He needs to perform and act like it. He needs to be Robin to Cade Cunningham. 8.7 rebounds, that's my stat line. He need to be 20 and 10. He need to dominate. He need to bring that physicality. And he need to show his versatility, because with them missing Dennis Schroeder from last year, Tim Hardaway Jr., Michael Beasley, he needs to make up that ground and be that bona fide second option and get this win tonight.
I'm going to follow up on Perk here. They got to win the points in the paint. Here's a Detroit team that averaged 59 points during the regular season. That's first in the NBA. Game 1, 34 points. That's it. So Jalen Duren's they got to get going with him as far as to win that battle.
I was waiting for WNBA legend Shanae.
Oh, we're all getting the legend treatment.
Well, look, they only had one other guy besides Cade Cunningham even take 10 shots. And that was Tobias Harris. He went 5 of 15. There's got to be more diversity on offense. There's just got to be. They know it, and I expect to see it.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is the fact that the Orlando Magic sort of took a page out of the Detroit Pistons playbook in the sense that they played nasty, they played tough, and they also have size and they make it count. Paolo Banchero, we've been waiting for him to rise to the occasion, rise to the moment. He's doing exactly that. And then when you compare that as forwards with Franz Wagner, that's lethal size and skill in that combination, whereas Cade Cunningham has to do everything offensively for the Pistons. So they have more balance. Right. But also, they just play tougher on the road, and they have to replicate that or remind themselves who they are, Detroit.
Who's it on? I mean, Duren had 4 shots in the last game. How does that...
Wendell Carter was awesome, and Wendell Carter can continue to even play him even, much less outplay him. It's going to be great for the Magic, but that's a real matchup tonight. Wendell Carter against Jalen
8 for
Duren.
9. Yeah.
I want to see 5 minutes left, tied game, how Detroit reacts.
Because you're saying that Cade Cunningham can't be the entire offense, or
he's got to carry them home.
Also, the idea of being down 0-2 will be hanging over their head.
Right, and not having won a playoff game in Detroit since
Perk wasn't a legend.
We got 2 awesome games for you tonight right here on ESPN. Enjoy, and we will see you tomorrow. Perk, the legend.